lot to share. So I want to go ahead and get started because I had a great thing I got to be a part of. Here we go. I got to be a part of. Actually, first, but while we're doing that, will you guys type something that you're grateful for in the chat box today, please? Type something that you're grateful for. I'm grateful that it's Wednesday, which means tomorrow is Thursday, and Heather is coming to Charleston tomorrow for the weekend. So I am grateful for that. I cannot wait for her to get here. And Dawn is coming also as well this weekend to hang out and have fun. So I'm grateful that my friends are coming to Charleston, which is exciting. And then, gosh, there's lots of other KW friends are coming in a couple weeks too. So, oh, awesome, Roger. That's good news. Katie, you got to see your nephew. Oh, I know that made you so happy. Love it, love it, love it. Awesome. Awesome. So I had the privilege last week of getting to sit in on an interview with Kendra Scott and Gary Keller. For those of you that do not know who Kendra Scott is, it's either because you aren't a girl and or you've never bought Kendra Scott jewelry for a girl before. So Kendra Scott is based out of Austin, Texas. She founded her jewelry business, and I mean, you guys, it was an hour of nonstop note taking that I did. I knew a lot about her story, but I didn't know a lot of the other parts of it. And I also did not know how strong she was in the mindset area. Holy cow, what she's built is incredible. So I'm going to share some things with you as much as I can get through. So for just a background story, because I like to start with this, she started with $500 to her name. In 2002, she had a spare bedroom in her apartment, and she was making jewelry out of her spare bedroom and going store to store to store to sell like just earrings or necklaces or bracelets or whatever that looked like. Today, as of last month, she has so since 2002, she has 115 locations, stores inside the US. She just hit $1 billion in valuation. She is still the majority shareholder, which is not common in companies like that. She has founded an entrepreneurial school in Austin, Texas, and she sends young and up and coming entrepreneurs through this school. She's donated $40 million to charities since 2010, which is insane. And she still has the same values that she did when she started her company, which is family, fashion, and philanthropy. And those are the things that she values. So I want to walk through a little bit of her story and share with you some of the big takeaways. You'll see some of them on the screen. When she was 19 years old, her stepfather was diagnosed with brain cancer. And she ended up moving to be with them and to help her mom take care of her stepdad. They had a really close relationship. And so she said that at that time, when he had brain cancer, she was going with him to treatments, and she was seeing all these other people who had cancer who were getting treatments. And she said that she was touched because she hated it that they all were losing their hair. And so she said that she was like, I'm going to bring hats back. Like, I'm going to bring the 1950s hats back. Everybody is going to like start this trend, and I'm going to make these beautiful, cool, creative hats for all these people that are actually going through chemo or who may have cancer. And so she said she started a business called the Hat Box, and she did it for 5 years, and the business failed. She said little to what she thought. People didn't want to bring hats back. And so it wasn't a success. And so she had a failed business. And she said that she did not look at that as a failure because it was really the school of hard knocks. And so she said that she learned lessons that are make a connection and then a transaction will come. She said that was how she really learned how to connect with people. And then on a business side of things, she said location is important and you have to be proactive to get customers. You have to create reasons for them to walk in your door. She said that she had a partner then, and she kind of looked at them as a boss, and she said that they didn't really mesh and their values didn't align. And so she said that she would say that they weren't a great boss, right? And so she said, however, sometimes your best boss is your worst boss because you learn all the things not to do. So she then came up with a vision of jewelry. She loved making jewelry. She was making it out of her spare bedroom. And she said that her goal was to create beautiful, timeless, classy earrings that were under $100, so that really anybody could afford them. Even if it was something you had to save up for, if they were still under $100, people could buy them and they could wear them to fancy parties and all those things. So she said from 2002 to 2009, she was strictly a wholesale business. She door knocked for 7 years, you guys, like literally went on every jewelry store, every like little boutique, anywhere that she could, she door knocked to just see if they would sell a few of her pieces inside of their store. Then in 2010, she started opening more brick and mortar locations, more retails. She said this was a huge lesson. I love this, and this tells you exactly how her mindset is as a person. She said, we never said no to anyone. Nothing was impossible to us. It was all about pleasing people. She said if an actress needed jewelry in 30 minutes because their original plan didn't show up, like we were there. She said I hopped in a taxi. I would personally take it to him. If there was a fashion show and they ran short, we were on it. Like we were there. We were on call. She said we never said no to any charity, any fundraiser, anything that asked us for a donation. She said every time somebody asked us to help or give, we said yes. And she said we still do that today. And the reason is because she said it's not about saying no to us. It's about saying, how do we solve the problem for somebody else? And she said, I truly believe that when they opened their first store, which was in Austin, which some of you may have been there. It's like, I love it. I've been multiple times. It's their flagship store. It's on South Congress, I believe. And oh, that's weird. Sorry, something just started making a weird noise in my house. It's on South Congress, and it's like the cutest store. And anyway, that's her first store, and she still has it. And so she said that the day that they opened that brick and mortar, that lines were wrapped around the building all the way down South Congress. And she said that she knew it was because that they never said no. People knew them for their philanthropy and for her always of a giving spirit. She actually has a few fun facts. I love this. Whether you have one person that you lead, or you're getting ready to make a hire, or you lead hundreds of people, she has the lowest turnover of any retail store in the United States. I did not know that. I think that is amazing. She said that she shows her employees love and respect, and that there's a balance. She has clear expectations with them, but she said her mindset has always been to just show love and respect, and that when you do that, people won't leave you. Her dream was to get into Neiman Marcus. She got into Nordstrom. She got into big retail, and she said for years she wanted to get into Neiman Marcus. And she said she literally, I think she said for 20, yeah, I have it on here, 20 years, she wrote handwritten notes and popped by all the big wigs inside of Neiman Marcus and took them cookies. She joked, she said, I built my business on handwritten notes and cookies, because she said all she did was take cookies and handwritten notes and little goodie baskets and little samples of earrings and anything that she could, and she dropped it off. And she said really that's how she built relationships. She just found any way that she could to build relationships. And then she said one day Neiman Marcus called her and said, we want to talk to you about selling your jewelry in our store. And she said it was like the highlight moment of her career, because she said for 20 years she worked as hard as she could to build the relationships to get there. Another mindset piece that I love about her and her story is that she does not operate out of a place of fear. So a couple different places you'll see that. This next one is one of them. Every single one of her employees has the power to please the customer. So if someone comes in and they're not satisfied, they don't have to get manager approval. They don't have to go above them to say, hey, can we make this happen? And so she said that's because they trust their employees, because they're the most important to them. They hire right on the front end. And when they have the mutual respect and they know that person is trustworthy and is on their team, then she in turn gives them the power to please. When I heard her say that, I instantly thought, I have a necklace that is a part of her fine jewelry that Adam got me. And I don't have it on today, but it's like a little circle and it has diamonds in it. And I got one, and for some reason within 6 months, it totally turned and it's real. It's like real jewelry. And it just didn't look like, I could not get it to clean back up. And so I told Adam, I was like, I don't know if they're going to do anything about it, because it's been 6 months, or maybe it was even longer than 6 months. It was a little over 6 months. And so I went in and said, can I speak? I went into the Kentucky to the store in Lexington and said, can I speak with the manager? I just have a question about one of my fine jewelry necklaces. And she said, yeah, absolutely. I'll get one, but can I help you first? And I said, well, I don't know if you can do anything about it, but it's turned and I don't think it's supposed to do this. And she said, oh, I don't need a manager. I'll just replace it for you. And this was like a $1,500 necklace. So, and she just went and got a new one out of the case and swapped it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, that was amazing. So I loved that she gives her people the power to please. And then she said they have a bond to her brand. All clients, all customers do. Every time they open their doors, people were wrapped around the building. She wanted nice jewelry that people could come in and touch and feel. And for those of you that have been in the Kendra Scott, you know that it's not like in cabinets or glasses, right? It's all out. You can try it on, you can look at it. She said that she always wanted to have signs around that said, have fun, try one on, touch it, do whatever you need to do. Because she said, Gary Keller actually said in the interview, were you not afraid people would steal from you? And she said, honestly, if they do, then they need it more than we do. And no, she said, I'm not going to operate my business out of fear and scarcity. She said, have we ever had jewelry stolen? I'm sure we probably have. And she said, but is it enough that it's affected my business? No, it's not. On the flip side of that, having a mindset of abundance and not operating out of scarcity and letting people touch and try on and feel her stuff, she said, has outweighed any amount that has ever gotten stolen, because people buy it because of that, right? They don't feel like that they have to, have somebody put gloves on and get a key to unlock to show them something. So I thought that mindset it's just not everybody has that type of a mindset. Gary said, what were your biggest challenges? And I always love to know people's challenges because we all have them. She said, in the beginning, people laughed at her for years. She said they would say, this is this pretty young girl from Texas making jewelry. And she would go into big boardrooms and conference rooms. And she said that she would have, a room full of men, and that she would come in with her jewelry and they would be like, this is never going to work. This is never going to be successful. And so she said, my mindset had to be so strong from the beginning because I knew what I had and I knew what my mission was. And so she said, I had to keep my mindset strong. And then she said, I had to figure out what my weaknesses were. And I love this quote: once you know your weaknesses, you can bring people to do those things. And she said the most successful ones have teams around them that are actually doing those things for them. So Gary said to her, what are your weaknesses? And she said, I know exactly how much it costs me to make something, and I know exactly what the consumer would pay for it, but I don't know how to make a spreadsheet to make it all look good and get it together to present it to a big boardroom. And then she said, there are things that I knew that I wasn't great at. And so I had to hire to those things. And she said, I knew that I needed to have a big e-commerce website, but she said, I am not a technological person. So she said, I knew that those were things that I had to, once I got the money, I had to outsource and hire. I loved a story. Oh, I have that in here, a story about her bank. So she said some of her largest lessons: create reasons for people to come into the store. So I know a lot of you are business owners and entrepreneurs and real estate and tons of other things. So I relate this to like our clients and our customers. Create reasons that people want to do business with you. Create them. If you're a teacher, that people say, I've got to get my kid in Miss So-and-so's class, or I've got to attend this church, or you have to come to whatever it is, or I have to buy my house from Taylor, whatever it is. You have to create a reason for them to want to come to you. And she said, you can't just care about the transactions. You only have to care about the connections, because when you care about the connections, everything else from there it comes together. It works out. The next lesson she said was, you have to have resilience. And she said, big time, you have to have a lot of resilience. And I loved this because she said, your mindset is everything. We all have bad days. We all have peaks and valleys. And so she told this story. This was crazy, of when the dip in the economy happened in 2007, 2008, 2009. Some of you remember that very well. She said that at this point she had no investors, right? She was taking lines of credit out. She was borrowing against her house. She was racking up credit cards. She was borrowing from family members, but she had never taken like official investors on. And she said the bank called her and said, because of what's happening in the economy, we're calling your line of credit. And she said it was $700,000. And she said, I didn't have it. My cards were maxed out. I had already refinanced my house. I mean, she said there was no, my parents didn't have it. And she just said, I had no way of getting it. And she said, at that time, I said, I want to speak to the president of the bank. And she said that she never even got to. She said it was a big business bank. And she said that truly she was just a number. And so she said her business was worth about $2 million at the time. So she said that she wasn't a huge multi-million-dollar business for this bank to want to do business with. So she said that she went around to other local banks, and she said that this story was crazy. I got goosebumps when she said it. She said that she kept going to banks until one of them would take her seriously. And she said her friend told her about a new local bank that hadn't been in business very long, but that had a woman as a president. And so she went and asked to have a meeting with the president of that bank, who was a female. And she said that when she sat down with the lady who was the president, she told she said she knew Kendra Scott. She knew the name, the jewelry. And she said, she told her, I've got 2 kids. I've recently been divorced. Like, my credit cards are maxed out. I know what I have is huge, and I just need somebody to believe in me. And the president, that lady, she said yes. So she gave her the $700,000. She paid off the line of credit at the big bank that she was just a number at. And Kendra said, and that was in, I think she said 2007 or 2008. And she said, and I actually have it written down. She said, and today, I still bank. All of Kendra Scott banks with that bank, with that lady who is still the president of that bank. And she said, and obviously we are a $1.1 billion company, and we don't do business with any other bank. And she said, and I thought, oh my gosh, what a lesson is that? I mean, what a mindset lesson, number 1, and 2, like what a loyalty lesson. I just thought that was awesome. So these were great questions. She said, always know the following. This is what's helped her build a $1 billion company. She said, know your why. What is your purpose, and what are your core values? No matter what you're doing, what is the why and what is the purpose? And then what makes a difference? How are you going to stand out? How can you be different? She said that the founder, or the person that is making the head decisions, their energy is more important than anything else. They have to have the strength to get through hard times. So the leaders that you follow, or the leaders that you are or that you become, are important, because they have to be able to have energy. And that reminds me of the quote from not last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that. I think it was a Bill Hybels quote. I can't remember it. I'm going to probably butcher it, but he said something about, as a leader, we feel like we have to give everybody everything all the time. But in reality, the best thing we can give our people is our energy. And so we have to control our own time, because we have to give them our energy first and foremost. She said the people around you are what matters, period. You need great mentors, you need great friends, you need great work associates, you need great people on your team. She said they may be skilled, but if they don't align with your mindset, your soul, and your values, they'll never work long-term. And I think I have it on the next slide, but she talks about how she can teach anybody skills, which is so true. Gary says that all the time, but you can't teach people their values or what kind of person they are. And then she said, what really matters to you? What kind of people do you want your customers around, your kids around, the people that you serve around? Because you worked hard to get those people, right? Anybody that you care about, what kind of people do you want around them? Gary asked her the question. So Kendra, was it easier when you were smaller or when you were bigger, now that you're a big business? And which one was harder? Which one was easier? And she said it was definitely harder when we were small. Because a lot of people think going big is so hard, right? It's so scary and it's so hard, and they would rather stay small. She said, I had way more problems. I was in survival mode. I was constantly worried about money. All I was worried about was taking care of my kids and paying my bills. And she said it was a day-to-day, month-to-month. It was just survival. She said the scariest times were the small days. And she said she felt so alone because people didn't really resonate with her in the beginning. They didn't buy into her vision, to what she had. And she just knew that she had to stay consistent. And she said, really, her mindset was just not in a good place. And every single day she just had to work to keep her mindset in a good place. She said with a big business, there are still challenges. And those of you that run large organizations, you know this. She said her number 1 question now is, how do I keep our culture at 3,000 employees? How do we keep that the trust in the employees, and how do we keep the family first and all those things when you have 115 locations and you're in retail like Nordstrom and Neiman and everything else? And she said she has to hire the right key people and the right key leaders because culture is harder the bigger that you get. So the last couple of things, some advice she said that she would give anybody really looking to grow. I can teach skills to people, but I can't teach heart. She said, always remember that in the hiring. I've hired a lot of people, and it is sometimes hard to see their skills. You can call references, you can, do their life story and all those things, but you have to know that they have the heart. If they have the heart, then everything else will eventually figure itself out. She said, lead by example. She said to this day, she is still in the distribution center in Austin, Texas, every single Black Friday. She said her kids know that every Black Friday they're going in to pack boxes and ship. She still goes to all the stores. She visits every store every year as a pop-up and as just a pop-in, for lack of better words. She said that she wants to lead by example, and she wants them to know. She still is in the design phase, all of that. She said, I love this next one. How can I surprise and delight the people every day that I serve? So for some of us, that might be our clients. This is when, for those of you that know this, I wait for this every year. If it's your birthday or it's your significant other's birth month, you get a 50% off purchase at Kendra Scott that month. So a lot of people wait till their birth month and they buy the big expensive thing that they want. And she said that she did that because she wanted to surprise and delight her clients in every way that she could. And what better way to do that than to celebrate them when it's their birthday? So when it's your birth month, you get a big discount. So how can I surprise and delight the people that I serve every day or that give me business? And then lastly, she said she created a family feel because that was what was important to her and her teams. They all were working moms. They all had families. She said she watched the movie 9 to 5, and she said, for all you Dolly Parton fans out there like me, I love that movie, but she said, I wanted to be the modern day movie 9 to 5. And so she said, as we grew and we were profitable, she said in their corporate building, they have smoothie bars and vitamins like stations on hands, and they have yoga, and they do a nail day once a month, and they have breastfeeding rooms and playrooms for the kids. And she said, we just knew that those things were important to them because of who I was in business with. And then she said, never forget that little things can be big things. And I thought that was so true and so good. And I'm actually working on that myself right now. Little things can be big things. So wrapping up, I know we're a little past thought for the day from Kendra, and just from me listening to her interview. What is your why? And we ask that all the time. And sometimes it's like nauseating to ask that so many times, but truly, like, why do you do what you do? What is it that makes you do what you do? What moves you in your heart? Linda McKissick and I were just doing a podcast. I'm totally blanking, but one of the people we just interviewed, they said they always ask people, what makes you cry? And she said that a lot of people will say, I'm not a crier. And she's like, well, if you were to be, like, what really would make you cry? Like when you think about something that happens and it breaks your heart so bad that it could move you to tears, like, what is that? And then how can you incorporate what you do into those things, into making that part of your big why? And then once you know those things, how big are you thinking around that? How big truly is your mindset? And how big can you think with it, no matter what point of your life you're in or what point of your business or what you have going on, but how big can you truly think about it? So I loved it. I'm a huge Kendra fan anyway, so I just thought her story was amazing. I'm trying to figure out a way to share the video, the actual interview, in our closed Facebook group. And I'm working on that. It's like, I don't know, it's like password protected right now or something. So I'm trying to figure out a way around that, and I will. So when we do, I'll post that because I would totally encourage you guys to watch it. It's much better to hear it from her than from me. But I just wanted to make sure that I shared some of those top points with you and lessons that I learned from her, because I took, oh my gosh, I think 8 pages of notes. And I'll definitely be changing the way that I do some things after that. Yes. Awesome. Oh, good, Rochelle. I'll try to find it. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week. And it was good to see you. See you later. Happy Wednesday.
Thank you.